Fantastic Four news. I mean, this just keeps going and going and going. Headed to rewrites again. I used Fandom Wire. This is outdated. It's a couple days. We've known this for a couple days, right? But they got a couple sources in here. The reboot's highly anticipated. I'm not even sure it's highly anticipated anymore. I mean, we're at the point now where I watched a couple of episodes of What If and didn't do videos, and it's not come up, and I'm just sort of like apathetic of even watching more. Like I feel like Marvel is now like it's kind of got to start over. Like I know everything hangs on Deadpool 3, but Fantastic Four and all of that is sort of like how they can kind of move forward with the X-Men and Fantastic. They can kind of rebuild everything, figure out who they want to carry over and whatever. But reality is, how are they going to do Fantastic Four? It doesn't really fit into everything. So many things have already been done well that kind of emulate the Fantastic Four's power sets. Daniel Rickman gets credit for this sort of like latest rumor that's talking about how new writers have started working. I don't know which new writers there are, so maybe those were mentioned by name because it says while Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer were initially enlisted, Josh Friedman was later hired. That was a year ago, but now this is the third time the studios allegedly got another overall coming. The script is expected to be done in a few months, so that's even more delay. And this, of course, is more challenges because they mentioned the Jonathan Majors thing. The studio navigates these obstacles. The fate of Fantastic Four reboot remains uncertain. Well, first off, they're going to do the film. Right now, they probably should do the film where they should start production probably in 2025. Give it all of 24, get into 25, have a good script, have everything worked out, figure out what you want to do with the Fantastic Four, how you want to tie it in with everything else going on. Take a pause and go from there. There's another rewrite here mentioned by KC Walsh claims, quote, you'll see it happen a lot more at Marvel as they look into scripts before shooting starts. You mean the proper traditional way Hollywood has been making films for generations? Yeah, Marvel had been like just we want to make this movie and then just go find some rando, right? This is what happened with Chloe Zhao and Eternals. This is what's happened over in Star Wars with the new Ray project. They want to do it. They just go find some person. They cast them, as Gary at Nerdrotic has said. I don't think that the Fantastic Four has really been exactly like that. I don't think it just makes sense. I think they've built a world where they're kind of trapped because unless they're going to restart everything and maybe stick them into like a negative zone or something, how are you going to explain they've been around this whole time? How are you going to explain what they are and who they are? And yeah, I don't know. And then how are you going to present something remotely interesting? This is just talking about rewrites. It's just talking about it's just going to slow down the overall process, which is what I think. Yeah, this is at least a now year delay. Obviously, Pedro Pascal was cast as Reed Richards. This article says likely, but I think it's just because Marvel never made it official. I don't think they know what they want to do. I think I think at some point, Deadpool 3 is the linchpin on what happens next. They've got a lot of ambitions and things they want to do, but they've been doing so much on the cheap for so long. I don't know how they reverse that trend. Anyway, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny, and then even Masa Bachrach as Ben Grimm, which is probably the weakest of the casting because he doesn't seem like the Ben Grimm football star astronaut type figure, but it's a lot of CGI and stuff, to be honest. So where are we at on things? Do we even care? I mean, this is sort of like 3 days old for me, 3 or 4 days old. I sort of saw it and was like, yep. Culture Casino had to him. He did a video on it and talked about this too. And I'm like, yep. So I just sort of like, of course it's not good. You're hiring inexpensive writers, inexperienced writers that don't have a love for superheroes. I mean, have you ever listened to Chris Gore talk about how much he loved the Fantastic Four and the Galactus story? And there's a passion and an energy and an exuberance that comes out of his voice when he's talking about that. That's what you want in the person that's going to be the vision behind making a multi-million dollar, hundreds of millions of dollar film project, right? Because you're talking about with marketing and special effects, every bit of $300 to $500 million project. This is a $1 billion film. It doesn't make $1 billion. It's a complete blockbuster flopbuster, right? I can't think of any way right now. I'm just using the Pop's brain. Pops, you have to make Fantastic Four work. I really don't have much to go on. I would probably make a 1960s origin movie, but I'm stuck because what I'm going to do with all these characters while all the other MCU played out. So I don't exactly know what to do. And I don't think they do either. I don't even know that the Fantastic Four is so marketable as far as making them money. Because again, we need to think in terms of what, not just what we want. I mean, at this point, I don't want anything, but is there going to be a line of kids or people who want to get a bunch of Fantastic Four toys? I'm not trying to diss the Fantastic Four. I love them. I love the characters. I love the stories. I love the action figures. Yeah, but that's not the most marketable, and especially now with the MCU, where they've elevated all of these other characters ahead of them, right? Because they didn't own the Fantastic Four. There's already been a couple of Fantastic Four movies that were mediocre at best, a couple that I thought were bad, but none of those garnered like a whole bunch of Invisible Woman fans, right? And Mr. Fantastic is basically Mrs. Incredible, and we've seen some sort of version of a CGI Hulk / Thing character a million times. Johnny Storms is just Fire Guy. So is it? What do you get? What do you get out of this? It's going to be hard to come up with a decent story. It's hard to place them in the MCU. It's hard to do anything remotely interesting and innovative. It's hard to find someone who's passionate, who this is their love, this is their dream to always do a Fantastic Four movie. So now we're just trapped in this place where this just is a complete disaster at the feet of the Marvel executives and Disney writ large. So love to hear your thoughts. I mean, maybe I'm way off base and it's going to be freaking great. That would be so good. Wouldn't it be nice that Disney it turned all around and it's like the era of like Joe Johnston and Kenneth Branagh and the Russo brothers again. And wouldn't that be nice? You know what the chances of that are happening? -10. -100. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Landmines to the head, my friend. Take care, everybody. I am Pops.
Yeah. Right?